Welcome back, seekers of the strange and the supernatural, to another spine-chilling episode of Most Haunted Hotels in the United States. In this fifth installment of our series, we're diving deeper into the shadowy corridors and haunted halls of some of the most infamous lodgings this country has to offer. From sprawling Victorian mansions steeped in tragedy to grand hotels that once welcomed the glitterati but now echo with ghostly whispers, these establishments are more than just places to rest your head. They're portals to the past, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. America's haunted hotels are as diverse as the nation itself, each one a unique tapestry woven with tales of love, betrayal, violence, and despair. These storied locations serve as grim reminders that the walls of even the most luxurious accommodations can harbor secrets darker than any nightmare. Whether it's the mournful cries of jilted lovers, the spectral footsteps of soldiers marching through deserted hallways, or the chilling apparitions of children playing in empty rooms, these ghosts refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. Instead, they linger, bound by unresolved grief, unrequited passion, or tragic deaths that demand acknowledgement. In this episode, we'll journey across state lines and centuries to explore 5 of the most haunted hotels in the United States. Each destination is steeped in its own macabre history, offering guests not only a bed for the night but also the chance to encounter something, or someone, from beyond the grave. We'll delve into first-hand accounts from terrified visitors, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and uncover the tragic events that gave rise to these hauntings. Along the way, you'll hear stories of heartbreak and heroism, madness and murder, all set against the backdrop of America's rich and often tumultuous past. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of America's most notorious hotels, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Stanley Hotel, elegance entangled with the supernatural, perched majestically atop the hills of Estes Park, Colorado. The Stanley Hotel stands as a beacon of refined elegance that belies its turbulent history. Established in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, co-founder of the Stanley Steamer Automobile Company, this grand establishment was designed to be a sanctuary for affluent travelers seeking respite amidst the breathtaking vistas of the Rocky Mountains. With its sweeping verandas, crystal chandeliers, and meticulously manicured gardens, the Stanley quickly became a hub for high society, hosting luminaries such as John Philip Sousa and Theodore Roosevelt. Yet beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and unexplained phenomena that would cement its status as one of America's most haunted hotels. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Stanley Hotel revolves around Room 217, said to be haunted by the spirit of Mrs. Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper who met a tragic end while working at the hotel. According to historical accounts, Mrs. Wilson was cleaning the room when a gas explosion occurred, severely injuring her and leaving her disfigured. Despite her injuries, she continued to work at the hotel until her death decades later. Guests staying in room 217 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of lavender lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle time of night to find their bedsheets neatly made, as though Mrs. Wilson were still tending to her duties. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Lord Dunraven, an Irish nobleman who originally owned the land on which the Stanley was built. Locals believe his ghost haunts the concert hall, pacing anxiously as though overseeing preparations for one last soiree. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, standing silently near the stage. Others describe hearing faint whispers of applause and laughter, as though an invisible audience is enjoying a performance long concluded. Theories abound that Lord Dunraven lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the property he cherished so deeply. The Stanley's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a server who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hotel's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Stanley's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the main dining room and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Stanley Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Mrs. Wilson, Lord Dunraven, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Stanley promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Myrtles Plantation whispers beneath the live oaks nestled along the banks of Bayou Sara in St. Francisville, Louisiana. The Myrtles Plantation stands as a testament to the resilience of antebellum architecture and the haunting legacy of its troubled past. Built in 1796 by General David Bradford, a prominent lawyer and political figure, the plantation served as both a family home and a gathering place for Southern aristocracy. Its sprawling fields, towering live oaks, and elegant Greek Revival mansion evoke a sense of permanence and tradition, yet within its halls lie stories of betrayal, murder, and vengeful spirits unwilling to fade into obscurity. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Myrtles Plantation centers around Chloe, a slave rumored to have been involved in a sinister plot that ended in tragedy. According to local lore, Chloe eavesdropped on private conversations of the plantation owners, hoping to curry favor and avoid punishment. When her actions were discovered, one of her ears was cut off as retribution. Consumed by bitterness and a desire for revenge, Chloe allegedly poisoned a cake intended for the family, killing 2 children and their mother. Her body was later found hanging from a tree on the property, adding another layer of sorrow to the plantation's already dark history. Today, visitors report seeing a woman in a green turban wandering the grounds, believed to be Chloe searching for redemption. Another prominent figure in the plantation's haunted lore is believed to be William Winter, a lawyer who purchased the property in the mid-19th century. Historical records indicate that Winter was shot on the front porch of the mansion following a heated argument, succumbing to his wounds shortly thereafter. His ghost is said to haunt the staircase, where his final steps were taken. Guests visiting the plantation have reported hearing faint footsteps descending the staircase, followed by a deafening crash, as though someone has fallen again. Others describe seeing a pale man staring mournfully out of upstairs windows, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Adding to the plantation's haunted allure are the countless gatherings and celebrations that took place within its walls during its heyday. Many believe residual energy from these events remains trapped within the structure, manifesting as phantom sounds of laughter, music, and conversation. At night, when the mansion is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant strains of a piano and the low murmur of revelry, as though a party from another era continues to unfold. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Myrtles Plantation remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering Chloe or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the plantation grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the plantation's macabre legacy? The Crescent Hotel, echoes of tragedy high above the quaint streets of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, sits the Crescent Hotel, a majestic structure perched atop West Mountain that has earned its place among America's most haunted hotels. Constructed in 1886, the hotel was initially envisioned as a luxury retreat for wealthy travelers, offering panoramic views of the Ozark Mountains and opulent accommodations fit for royalty. Its towering stone facade, Gothic Revival architecture, and sprawling terraces exuded an air of sophistication and exclusivity. However, beneath its polished exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, betrayal, and untimely death. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Crescent Hotel revolves around Dr. Norman Baker, a fraudulent physician who transformed the hotel into a cancer treatment center in the 1930s. Promising miraculous cures, Baker lured desperate patients to the facility, subjecting them to bizarre and ineffective treatments. Historical records indicate that many of these individuals died under mysterious circumstances, their bodies disposed of hastily and without proper documentation. Their spirits are said to haunt the hotel, manifesting as restless energy that permeates every corner of the building. Guests staying in certain rooms frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of antiseptic lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Michael Brown, a worker who fell to his death while constructing the building. Locals believe his ghost haunts the roof, pacing anxiously as though inspecting repairs never completed. Visitors recount sightings of a silhouette perched precariously on the edge of the rooftop, gazing downward as though contemplating another leap. Others describe hearing faint sobs carried by the wind, accompanied by the splash of water rippling against the riverbanks below. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a server who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hotel's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Crescent's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the main dining room and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Crescent Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Dr. Baker, Michael Brown, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Crescent promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Queen Mary, a floating nightmare docked permanently in Long Beach, California, since 1967. The RMS Queen Mary is far more than a retired ocean liner. It is a floating monument to tragedy and the supernatural. Built in 1936, this once majestic vessel served as both a glamorous cruise ship and a troop transport during World War II, ferrying thousands of soldiers across perilous waters. But with its storied history comes a dark legacy of accidents, deaths, and unexplained phenomena that have earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted hotels in the United States. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Queen Mary occurred in 1942, when the ship accidentally rammed and sank its escort vessel, the HMS Curacao, off the coast of Ireland. Over 300 lives were lost in the disaster, many of whom were trapped inside the smaller ship as it broke apart. Survivors claim to hear screams coming from beneath the waves, a haunting sound that has reportedly echoed aboard the Queen Mary ever since. Today, visitors staying overnight in the Crescent Hotel often recount hearing faint cries and splashing noises near the lower decks, particularly around areas associated with the collision. Another prominent figure in the ship's haunted lore is believed to be John Petter, a crew member who was crushed to death in the engine room in 1966 while performing maintenance. His ghost is said to haunt Boiler Room Number 1, where his life ended tragically. Paranormal investigators exploring the area have captured chilling EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings in which disembodied voices whisper warnings like, "Get out," or "Leave me alone." Staff members tasked with maintaining the engine room speak of tools moving inexplicably, lights flickering without cause, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Adding to the ship's eerie atmosphere is the recurring appearance of a spectral figure believed to be a young girl named Jackie, who allegedly drowned in one of the ship's pools. Guests frequently report seeing a childlike figure playing near the now closed first-class pool, giggling softly before vanishing into thin air. Others describe feeling an inexplicable coldness or seeing wet footprints appear spontaneously on the tiled floor. Some claim to hear the faint splash of water and the sound of tiny feet running across the pool deck, only to discover it empty upon investigation. Overnight stays on the Queen Mary offer brave souls the chance to experience these phenomena firsthand. Many guests recount waking up to the feeling of someone touching their arm, or hearing heavy footsteps pacing outside their door. Some even claim to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to vanish when approached. These encounters are so frequent that the hotel offers guided ghost tours, allowing curious visitors to explore the darker side of its storied past. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Queen Mary remains a magnet for thrill-seekers and history buffs alike. Its blend of elegance and eeriness makes it one of America's most sought-after destinations for those willing to test their courage against the unknown. For those brave enough to spend the night, the promise of encountering a sailor lost at sea or the ghost of a child who met an untimely end proves irresistible. Yet, as each new guest steps across the threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these steel walls, or will they become another chapter in the ship's tragic tale. As we traverse the haunted landscapes of America's most infamous hotels, from the opulent halls of the Stanley to the somber decks of the Queen Mary, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through America's most haunted hotels to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of America's haunted hotels yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all. But isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.